Hey, scrappy people. It's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a pocket layout using some Ali Edwards products. And I am scrapbooking 3 Finn stories on one page this week. I'm loving this new format that I'm doing where I'm not tied to weekly stories, and I'm able to tell 3 stories that happened 3 different times this month that all sort of tell the same story but different facets of it. So the very top is a photo of Finn at the buffet counter at Cece's Pizza, which, by the way, was horrible pizza, but he loved it because there was a macaroni and cheese pizza, and it was just he and I and his daddy out for lunch because the brothers were occupied with other things. And the story with that one is actually about how he brought joy to the man who worked at Cece's with his love of this macaroni and cheese pizza. He went up there to get some of the macaroni and cheese pizza, and they were all out, so the man made some. I'm sure he would have made some regardless, but I like to say he made some for Finn. And then he made sure that we knew that it was up and hot and fresh and ready, and Finn went up there to get some, and I was taking a picture of Finn. And I was thinking about telling the story of the macaroni and cheese pizza, but when I reviewed the photo, I found the man in the background that I wasn't paying attention to while I was taking the photo, and the look of joy that he has on his face regarding Finn, and it was just such a cool accidental capture that it needed to have a story in the album. So the next photo down is Finn at his sort of birthday lunch with my mom, being bored. He has hit the age, he's 8 now, and he has hit the age where he's bored if he's not, looking at screens or whatever. But he still low-key loves his stuffed animals. So he's sitting there bored, giving me a bored look with his stuffed animal, which is not an animal. It's from a game. And I loved the dichotomy of his joy of plushies contrasting with his boredom that hits when they start hitting the tween age, So that is the story for that photo. And then the one underneath is him on his birthday at Chuck E. Cheese. And now this kid has been dying to go to Chuck E. Cheese his whole life. And I loathe Chuck E. Cheese, so we've never taken him because we're terrible parents. But we decided to take him and a couple friends for his 8th birthday. And so I'm talking about the joy of him finally getting to go to Chuck E. Cheese. And also that numbered card says obsessed with. So I'm going to talk about why he wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese so bad, and how it had nothing to do with Chuck E. Cheese, but really had everything to do with his love of Five Nights at Freddy's. And Five Nights at Freddy's is a video game that is based on Chuck E. Cheese. And so I'm going to talk about that with that photo. Anyway, all 3 of these photos happened in the span of one weekend. So they all are tied together, and the whole thing overall, as I think of it, is about him bringing joy and the joy that he finds in things. So I have been working with the joy kit, the habit kit, joy and habit mostly, for this page, and I'm mixing and matching the 2, and that's what I love about Ali's kits, is even though they are different color schemes and they are a little bit different, they go together just fine and work perfectly. So I have taken the acetate circles that they were an add-on to I believe the Joy kit, and I have cut them up and added them to a couple of these cards so far, and I'm just working with all of the little embellishments and creating some clusters and making sure that through the acetate pieces that all 3 cards are sort of tied together. I'll add one to that top card as well, just as a way to make sure that it all works together, even though it's 3 different stories. So I added my journaling for this photo onto that little label from my stash. The other journaling will go on the 3x4 cards next to the photos, but this story was a lot shorter, so I just added it onto a label instead. Need something to go in this corner, but I end up adding this star, and then I'm going to move it later, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do right now with this corner. I have pulled off the backing on the chipboard to make it a little bit thinner, which I'm trying to do as much as possible for my album this year so that it I can add more to it and it won't be too thick. So I've got those two cards pretty much settled. I wanted to add that quirks card because his love of plushies is kind of a quirk, but I loved the repetitiveness of that lovingness, and the heart on the quirks card wasn't working for me. Plus I really loved that yellow contrast there. I'm going to add this circle to this card. I'm trying to figure out how to frame that photo effectively, and I actually really liked the two of them fit perfectly in between the dots on that circle, but I didn't like how the words were sideways, and it just wasn't quite right for me. Right now I'm picking off the plastic on this acetate, which I did not do beforehand because it's so hard to get off. I actually tried to get it off before, but I couldn't get it off, so I didn't think maybe it was going to come off, or there wasn't any on there, so I was messing with the plastic there. So now I'm fighting with this acetate circle, trying to figure out how I want to put this on this card, and I decide to do it right over that photo. The photo itself is fine. I'm fine with it being covered up a little bit because it's not the most amazing photo in the world, and I really just wanted to draw attention to him and the man behind the counter, so putting the acetate circle over that works perfectly. And of course I struggled with my stapler, as I do. So now that I've got the acetate situated, I have to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of this photo, and I decide to put this word bit right in the middle of the photo, because again, the photo is not great, so I don't mind covering it up a little bit. I don't love putting things in the middle of my photographs, but I liked it with this one. So this says "this story," and I felt like I needed a little bit more to make it interesting. So this is where I'm thinking about maybe adding numbers so that I can talk about how it's a numbered story list. And so I'm like peeling the plastic off and putting them where I think that the numbers might go. But then I decided that they sort of clash with the numbered card down at the bottom. And rather than change my whole design to add these numbers in, I just decided to keep the card instead. Thought maybe I'd add numbers this way, but no, I didn't like that either. So I'm going to put all those back. This would have been cute, but I didn't like that the way that the numbers were conflicting with the numbered card. So I changed my mind. Sorry I'm getting all crooked here. I didn't realize that my camera was weirdly off center. Looking through one more time to see if there's any other cards that I might want to use. I thought about maybe putting this striped card behind this photo here, but it clashed too much with that heart card. So I'm going to add this stripe circle instead. I felt like this card needed some more circles to match the other card, but there wasn't a lot that didn't have words on it. So I'm going to actually pull this star sticker off of here and put it on here instead. Of course I mess it up. Not a big deal though. I'm going to put it right there, and then I'm going to put the stripy one here. Luckily that this story is movable still. And with this card, I'm sort of trying to make sure that that chipboard piece sticks down because it kept trying to curl up. But I'm still like, I need to add something. Like, this is off center. especially with all that space on the right hand side of that card. The way that I was designing it is the top card is centered on the left, the middle card is centered in the middle, and the right card is centered on the right hand side of the card, so it had like a cascading effect. But I needed something to fill up the space on that right hand side of that top card, so that's kind of what I'm feeling like I'm looking for right now. Still loving that red card, still not gonna make it in. So I'm still like struggling because I'm trying to work with only Allie's stuff except for that one label. So I'm struggling a little bit with what to add here because I do love Allie's products and they're great for telling stories, but they are a little bit repetitive. So I was trying to find something that wasn't repetitive to put on that side. None of those circles made sense, although they would have been perfect for that side. I didn't want to add another heart. The struggle is real. Okay, so I like this word bit, but I felt like it was too square. It needed like a circle. So what I end up doing is I'm going to pull this circle off of this yellow one, and I'm just going to back this chipboard piece with the circle. And that works just fine. Then I'm going to add in my journaling and call this one done. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. And if you don't already, go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed, and I'd love to be friends over there. All right, thank you.